Algeria first made her name in world football when they beat the star-studded reigning European champions West Germany 2-1 at the 1982 World Cup finals in Spain. They agonizingly missed the second round after West Germany beat Austria in one of the most controversial matches in World Cup history. From 1986 to 2010, they failed to qualify for another World Cup finals, which they eventually did in 2010. In 2014, they impressively made it to the second round before losing to eventual champions Germany. You won't often hear people talk much of players from Algeria, but truth be told, this nation has produced some awesome talents over the years. Having said that, let's draw some attention to the best Algerian footballers of all time and give them the recognition that they deserve. Let's kick things off with one of the greatest goalkeepers of Algerian football, Mehdi Seba. He earned 57 caps. Mehdi Seba was the starting keeper of the 1982 World Cup team. He was voted Algeria's keeper of the century. He spent most of his playing career playing for Algerian sides USM Alger, JS Kabylie, and RC Cuba. He played 1.5 seasons in Canada with NASL side Montreal Manic. He returned to Algeria and finished his career in RC Cuba. Another goalkeeper who qualifies as Algeria's greatest footballer of all time is Abderrahmane Boubacar. Boubacar was a goalkeeper with AS Monaco in the 1950s. He also played for AS Saint-Eugène Alger. For international football, he played for FLN football team, the national team for National Liberation Front between 1958 and 1962. He also played for Algeria after it became independent. Rice Mboli is the third goalkeeper among the greatest Algerian footballers of all time. Mboli was born in Paris, France to a Congolese father and an Algerian mother. He started playing football for RFC Paris. Then he joined Olympique de Marseille, though he never made a league appearance before his release in January 2006. He played in Turkey, Bulgaria, the USA, Russia, and many others. He was kept by France at the youth level before switching allegiance to Algeria. He played in both World Cup finals in 2010 and 2014. On to defenders, starting with Chaban Mezekan. Chaban Mezekan spent most of his career playing for NA Hussein Dey and also had a brief stint with MC Alger. He was the starting right back for Algeria at the World Cup finals in 1982. He played every minute for that tournament. He earned the Man of the Match award in the famous victory against West Germany. Next on the list is Mustafa Zitouni. Mustafa Zitouni was kept 4 times by France in the late 1950s. He was on France's 1952 Olympic team. He went on to represent the FLN football national team and then Algeria when it became independent. Zitouni began his career with Saint-Eugène in 1950 and then played in France for Canet, AS Monaco and Cholet. His longest stint was with AS Monaco between 1954 and 1958. While in Algeria, he played club football for RC Cuba. Next on the list is Mahmoud Gendouzi. Gendouzi earned 69 caps between 1977 and 1986. He appeared at the 1980 Olympics as well as the FIFA World Cups of 1982 and 1986. He appeared in every minute of both World Cup finals. He was considered one of the key players of the 1980s for Algeria. As a club player, he was largely based in his homeland, although he also appeared for FC Martigues in France. Next on the list is Nourdine Kourouchi. Born in France, Kourouchi chose to represent Algeria. Between 1980 and 1985, he had 30 caps for Algeria. He played in the 1982 and the 1986 World Cup finals. He played 5 out of 6 games in those finals. For club football, he played with Valenciennes, Girondins Bordeaux, and Lille in France. Miloud Hadefi is one of the greatest Algerian footballers of all time. Born in 1949, Miloud Hadefi was considered to be the Beckenbauer of Africa. He was nicknamed the African Kaiser by Pelé. He was kept 46 times between 1968 and 1979. He won a gold medal in the All-Africa Games in Algiers in 1978. He spent his club career at home mainly with MC Oran and W. Chelmsford. Next on the list is Mehedin Mefta. With over 70 caps, Mehedin Mefta is one of the most capped Algerian players of all time. He won the Africa Cup of Nations in 1990. He played his club football at home for JS Kabylie from 1987 to 1996 and USM Alger from 1996 to 2006. With JS Kabylie, he won the Africa Cup of Champions Clubs in 1990 and the Africa Cup Winners' Cup in 1995. Fawzi Goulam is regarded as one of the greatest Algerian footballers of all time. Born in France of Algerian parents, Fawzi Goulam was kept by France at the youth level. He switched to play for Algeria at the senior level in 2013. He went on to play for Algeria at the World Cup finals in 2014. He started his career at AS Saint-Etienne in 2010. He was Algeria's Player of the Year in 2017. His brother Nabil is a cross-country runner that represented France. Next on the list is Tahar Sherif El Houzani. El Houzani was a great player for MC Oran. He would lead the team to the Algerian Cup in 1996 as well as back-to-back Arab Cup Winners' Cup in 1997 and 1998. He also played in Turkey and Morocco. He was voted the second best African Player of the Year in 1990 after Roger Milla because of his World Cup run that year. He won the African Cup of Nations that same year. Next on the list of Algeria's greatest footballers of all time is Moussa Saib. Moussa Saib was captain of Algeria's Africa Cup of Nations winning team of 1990. He was capped 74 times. He played in France, Spain, England, and the UAE. He had a long career with Auxerre, where he won the Ligue 1 in 1995-1996 season. In 1998, he joined struggling English club side Tottenham Hotspur for a fee of £2.3 million, thus becoming the first Algerian player to play in the English Premier League. In terms of the best Algerian footballers, you won't find any player that has played for a more prestigious club than Riyad Mahrez, playing for Manchester City, of course. Born in France, Mahrez joined Leicester City from Le Havre in 2014. He is undoubtedly one of the most successful Algerian players ever, at least on a domestic level, having won the Premier League on 3 separate occasions. One of these included the most famous underdog victory in football when Leicester City managed to win the Premier League with Mahrez back in 2014. The other came with his current club, Manchester City. He won the Players' Player of the Year award as he helped Leicester City to win the Premier League. In terms of international football, Mahrez is a key player for Algeria and most notably captaining them to the African Cup of Nations title in 2019. Mahrez is a 2-time winner of the Algerian Footballer of the Year award. Next on the list is Ali Fergani. Ali Fergani was capped 66 times between 1973 and 1986. He was the playmaker for Algeria at the 1982 World Cup in Spain, where Algeria beat West Germany, the reigning European champion. He also went to the Olympics in 1980. On the same year, he went to the African Cup of Nations, where Algeria finished second. He was the runner-up at the African Player of the Year award in 1981. Fergani played club football for N.A. Hussein Dey and J.E. Tizi Ouzo. Moving on, the next is Abdelaziz Ben Tifo. Abdelaziz Ben Tifo played for France at the 1954 World Cup finals. He had a notable career in the French league, especially with Nice. He was one of the founding members of the FLN Algeria national team. He played for Nice, then moved to Troyes AC after 6 seasons with Nice in 1954, and then he signed for AS Monaco in 1956. Another legend of the Algerian game is Salah Assad. Salah Assad was the starting left forward for Algeria at the World Cup in 1982. He is the top scorer for Algeria at the World Cup finals. For his performance in 1982, he was runner-up for African Player of the Year. He also played at the 1986 World Cup finals. He played for RC Cuba, where he won an Algerian tournament in 1981 and won Africa Cup Winners' Cup. And in France, he played for Mulhouse FC and Paris Saint-Germain. Next on the list is Lakhdar Belloumi. Lakhdar Belloumi is considered to be the best Algerian player of all time. He scored one of the goals that beat West Germany at the 1982 World Cup finals. He is voted as the fourth best African player of the century. He holds the record as the most capped Algerian player with 147 national caps. He won the African Player of the Year award in 1981. He also played in the 1980 Olympic Games. Despite interest from European clubs, he stayed in Algeria during his career. Next on the list is Mustafa Taleb. Taleb held the record for all-time leading goal scorer for Paris Saint-Germain in the French First Division with 85 goals before being surpassed by Zlatan Ibrahimovic. Taleb is the club's third all-time goal scorer in all competitions with 98 goals. Taleb played with the Algerian national team in the 1982 World Cup, where Algeria beat West Germany. Moving on, let's pay attention to Hassan Lalmas. Nicknamed the Ram, Hassan Lalmas is widely considered to be one of the greatest Algerian players of all time. He was capped 43 times between 1963 and 1974. He won 4 league titles with CR Belouizdad. He is the all-time top scorer in the Algerian league with 150 career goals. He was voted the 14th best African player of all time by CAF. Next on the list is Ali Benchaki. Ali Benchaki was voted 19th in the voting for the African Player of the Century. He won the African Champions Cup with MC Alger. He went to the World Cup finals in 1982 where Algeria beat West Germany in the group stage. He was offered a contract to play for Nantes in France after the World Cup finals. He was the runner-up for the 1978 African Footballer of the Year award. Next on the list of Algeria's greatest footballers of all time is Djamel Menad. Menad was capped over 80 times by Algeria. He went to the Olympics in 1980. He appeared at the 1986 World Cup finals in Mexico. He finished third for the 1986 African Footballer of the Year award. In 1990, he won the African Cup of Nations where he was the top scorer. For domestic football, he played in France and Portugal as well as in Algeria. Moving on, let's pay attention to Rachid Mekloufi. Rachid Mekloufi is the all-time league team scorer for Saint-Etienne in France, where he played from 1954 to 1958. He won 4 Ligue 1 titles with them in the 1960s. Like many French Algerians of his generations, he was capped by France. He played 4 times for France between 1956 and 1957. He later played for the FLN Algeria national team and then Algeria after it gained independence. He was the co-manager of the Algerian national team in the 1982 World Cup finals. Next on the list of the greatest Algerian footballers of all time is Omar Beltrouni. Omar Beltrouni was a star in the domestic league during the 1970s in Algeria. He played club football for MC Alger for more than a decade, winning the Algerian League Championship 5 times and the Algerian Cup 3 times. He also led the league in goal scoring once and helped MC Alger to win the 1976 African Cup of Champions clubs. In 2006, he was selected by CAF as one of the best 200 African footballers of the last 50 years. And next to probably the most successful Algerian player in Europe, Rabah Madjer. He scored the first goal of the 2-1 victory over West Germany at the 1982 World Cup finals. 5 years later, he again broke the Germans' heart when he scored a goal and set up another as Porto beat Bayern Munich at the European Cup final in 1987. He played 87 times for Algeria. At club level, he played domestic football in Algeria, France, Qatar, and Portugal. As mentioned, Porto was his greatest stand. The list of Algeria's greatest footballers of all time cannot be complete without mentioning Islam Slimani. Slimani began his career in his homeland with JSM Chiraga and CR Belouizdad. In 2013, he moved to Europe, signing for Sporting CP. He played and scored regularly during his 3 seasons in Portugal, helping the team to win the Taça de Portugal in 2015. In 2016, Slimani transferred to Leicester City for a club record of £28 million. An Algerian international, Slimani made his international debut in 2012 and played at the Africa Cup of Nations in 2013, 2015, 2017 and 2021, and was also part of the Algeria's side that won the tournament in 2019. He was also part of Algeria's 2014 World Cup squad, where he finished as the team's joint top scorer with 2 goals. He has won over 80 international caps and has scored over 40 goals, making him Algeria's all-time leading goal scorer. If there are any Algerian football greats that we left out on this list, please feel free to let us know in the comment section below. That's all we have for you this week from African Football Archives. It's bye for now.